This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 135. This week, I'm very pleased to be joined by, I guess I could say, first-time guest. I'm going to say long-time listener. You always send a lot of questions in, at least, so I would hope you're listening.
Yeah, I listened to the first 10 minutes and then nothing else, and then pretend I listened to everything.
But what's up, Callum? Hello.
Nothing much. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully I'll be good enough to talk about STARDOM and Tokyo Joshi and DDT, the trifecta of promotions that don't have fans, apparently.
Every time for people who have long-time listeners, every time I've ever done a question from Ice Age Coming, that's you. So
yes, that is me. So you know who to send your hate mail to now.
Yeah. But thank you for coming on sort of last minute. I think originally I was supposed to have on Sean Cedar this week, but like when I planned out the month, but that was assuming that we were going to be talking about like 4 New Japan Cup shows and the anniversary show, that none of which happened. And plus he was going to watch like because Stardom No People Gate was announced already, and he was going to watch that like as a first timer and give his thoughts, which I thought would have been cool because it's streamed live on YouTube, people who don't know. So, which by the way, it looks like they're almost at 100K views last time I checked, so a lot of people are checking that, which is great.
It seems like a lot of people on social media, lots of people from Japan, it was like their first time seeing Stardom, and seemed to get over popular. But yeah, it's hard to tell the impact of these things.
Yeah, right. I mean, like they're already doing like their best numbers ever before this YouTube thing. So like I know like the next big goal is Oda Ward, which I can't remember when that is. It's like coming up in a few months, I think.
It's the end of April. So
yeah. Oh, so even closer. Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, we're not entirely sure if that'll happen yet. But
I think it will happen. End of April. I hope so.
I think we'll see. We'll find out. Unfortunately, it's not the same weekend as WrestleMania, so there's absolutely no chance of WrestleMania getting cancelled. Maybe I'll post on Twitter about how Stardom are a much bigger promotion than WWE.
Yeah. But anyway, so back to my original point. So Sean was going to come on and do New Japan with me and also do like his first time thoughts on Stardom, but there's no New Japan. So there's not much of a point. We figure he'll come back on when there's actually stuff he watches to talk about. So sorry that we can't have Sean on, but I'm sure he'll be back at a later date. But thank you very much, Kyle, for stepping in here in a relatively last minute to jump in and talk about some empty arena. It's the No People cast here because it's all empty arena shows from coronavirus hit Japan. It might be no people shows might be coming here soon. Like, do you see the way this American outbreak is going? Jesus.
I'll be honest. Here at least it seems like the government have a little bit of sanity about it. But yeah, the stuff going over there.
America has. We have no idea. We have no idea what the fuck we're doing here. Are you kidding?
It's all a conspiracy theory, isn't it?
It's a hoax, according to the president of the United States.
So a slightly funnier one than that was when I was going out somewhere yesterday. I had the radio on in the car, and it was a guy who was on the radio who called in to say that the coronavirus was a big conspiracy so that Liverpool Football Club couldn't win the Football League. So compared to that, I think the president's slightly more sensible.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's a mess here. I mean, I live in New York City, and we just declared a state of emergency because I think they're up to over 100 cases just in New York State alone. Most of them are actually in Westchester, which is like, for people who don't know New York geography, that's like basically the northern suburbs. I'm very close to Westchester. Like, I'm in the Bronx, but like Westchester's like, I don't know, I could get there in a car in like 10 minutes. So yeah, I'm not thrilled with that news, but I mean, look, if I get this coronavirus, I'm probably not going to die or even be hospitalized. It's like, older people, and immune system compromised people that are, in danger, and that's my heart goes out to all of them because it is very scary. I mean, my dad is both. Honestly, my dad is old and immune system compromised. So I'm mostly very scared for him, and I hope.
I mean, my grandmother is very old, and if she got it, I think she'd be gone right away. As sad as that sounds.
Yeah. So it is frightening by that perspective.
I mean, from a personal perspective, I have asthma, which is relatively mild, but it's still an extra risk. But yeah, I think I'd be fine.
Yeah. But so that's what's going on right now in the wrestling called coronavirus.
It's a bit depressing, really.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know when. So I guess to give an update on how things are going in Japan, we're not sure basically what's going on, really. I mean, like I think they're up to 481 confirmed cases last time I checked.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Which is not like, it's actually not that many. Oh, 497. I'm sorry, I just looked. It's not as much as you would think, honestly, compared to like there are 497 out of I believe they've done. Let me see, because I have these stats right in front of me. I don't know where Corona cast here. 497 out of 8,176 tested, which is less than they've tested in like South Korea and like other areas around there. So there probably is more that they haven't gotten yet. But America, we're above 400 tested, and we've tested like 2,000 people. So like there is a shitload of coronavirus cases in America. So basically what I'm trying to tell people listening is like, I guess if you're in the States like I am, it's going to be bad here for the next couple months, I think. I think we're looking at, I don't know if they're going to go as far as Japan has gone, like as far as canceling events or having no fan events, but it's not going to be good. I don't WrestleMania. Can you even imagine going to fucking WrestleMania in the middle of this? I mean, it's just like 100,000 people from all over the world in different stages of this epidemic are going to convene on one fucking. It already has its own cases. Like Tampa has cases already. I mean, that sounds, and then they're all going to go back to where they came from. I mean, they should cancel WrestleMania if we're being honest, and they're not going to. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be real fun.
I mean, it may get to a point where they have to, because that's a decision made by the state government, and
right. It'll only happen if the city or the state.
Yeah. And I guess
can do it.
I guess you could argue that maybe the federal government tried to lean on them, but it's also an election year, and I think that. Let's be honest, the worst thing that any person could do in an election year is support WWE. I mean, I think this is me making a prediction rather than saying anything for sure. I wouldn't be shocked if Tokyo Joshi cancel.
If Tokyo Joshi, for April, yeah. It wouldn't shock me either.
I wouldn't, because especially since that show, we don't know, but from all reports, it doesn't seem like they're doing necessarily brilliantly ticket sale wise.
Yeah, I mean, they're still promoting it on Twitter right now, but I mean, I guess that doesn't mean anything. We're still a month out.
Shimmer were meant to bring over, I think, Tsukasa Fujimoto with someone, and then 2 or 3 other people from Japan, and then they made the call to not do that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say really, but. It may well be they recommence in Japan, but then going to America, especially a place that's already coronavirus affected, especially if there's the risk of it's less the chance of getting infected. It's more just being stuck in a quarantine zone.
Yeah. So I don't know. It wouldn't shock me at all. Like you said, if that gets canceled, that's a good point. Who knows if New Japan has a show that weekend too. The Lines Break project or whatever.
Imagine how awful that ROH show will be if suddenly all the New Japan guys get canceled.
I know. If you take away even the Bullet Club people, and then also I mean, that would be pretty bad. Like no Shingo and all them,
and
no Ospreay.
You could subtitle the show at that point, "The Kneecapping of Scurrilism."
Yeah, but I guess we'll see. Usually Nagata's supposed to be here for the Pure tournament. Hopefully that happens because I have tickets to the New York show.
So you decided to go and see. So you have definitely decided to go and see Matt Taven over Daisuke Sasaki then.
I have the tickets already. I don't know what else to do. It's very. Look, if Nagata doesn't show up, I might just fucking eat the cost of the ticket and go see Sasaki. The problem is the rest of that fucking show is gonna suck. The Sasaki show. Because it's gonna have like Bull James and like I don't know, all these fucking dirt bag New York indie guys that can't fucking wrestle for shit. So I don't know. We'll see. So I really would like to see Daisuke. Why the fuck are they running head to head with Ring of Honor on a random Thursday in New York City? It's so weird. Like, is Bull James have heat with Ring of Honor or something? I don't understand.
Perhaps, but maybe it's the old WWE strategy of just I don't know. Actually, that makes no sense. Actually,
yeah. I don't know.
Potentially kneecapping yourself to.
Yeah. Well, whatever. In the meantime, we're going to be talking No People Gate this week. Some promotions seem like they're still running. A lot of promotions are still running.
Yep. Sendai Girls had a title match, which will air sometime today.
All Japan is promoting a show on the 14th at Shinkiba, so it looks like they're going to resume on time as of now, at least. Big Japan is still doing the strong climb for the most part. They had to cancel a couple of shows. I think it's like the arenas made them cancel, but they ran their February 3rd Korakuen and they had an announced crowd of like 545 or something. But their March 3rd Korakuen, I should say. And that's going to air in a couple of days on March 10th. So if nothing else, we'll have that to talk about next week.
I think in terms of other upcoming things, I think pretty much the only Joshi companies to have stopped are Stardom and Tokyo Joshi.
Yeah, everybody else seems like they're still running.
Seedling have a Korakuen next week, and
if
that's going to be 540. Then God knows
I know that's going to be dire. That Seedling Korakuen, they might announce like 300.
It's a shame because the main events it's Arisa Nakajima versus Rina Yamashita, which sounds like a really really good match. Yeah. But no one's going to see it.
Yeah, it's going to air on Samurai at least, right?
Probably Nico, I guess.
Oh, Nico. Okay. Well, someone will see it, I guess, but not that many people in the building. As far as other Japanese, Wrestle One has the 15th at Oda War Gym, which they're still running as of now. The big thing is New Japan has still not made a call yet on whether or not they're coming back on the 16th. Everything's canceled through the 14th. So the 16th, that's 8 days away. So they have to make a call soon.
I think Stardom canceled their shows on the 20th to 22nd.
Yeah.
So that might be a hint.
Well, so people say that they are technically run separately. So Stardom canceled everything and went to No People Gate like a while before New Japan canceled everything. So it could be a hint, but it could not be a hint. It's tough to say because Stardom is run by like the same division as the kickboxing company, whereas New Japan is run by like its own division, basically. If I had to guess right now, my own personal prediction is New Japan will probably cancel those shows at least until Sakura Genesis, which is I believe March 30th, either March 30th or 31st, and I think they will maybe follow Stardom's lead and do No People Gate. That's just my prediction. I don't think they're going to go completely black for the next 3 weeks, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think we'll hear something. We're going to have to hear something this week, probably Monday or Tuesday, I would think.
I have a bold idea. So, Gedo, if you're listening, I know you're a proud listener of Wrestling Omakase. Why don't you do New Japan Cup one night? Have the first 3 rounds be 5-minute time limit with 2 count full, and then do Janken if there's a tie, of course, because you can't break ties, and then go on from there. I think quite clearly, as we saw today, that's as we saw every week. Brilliant idea.
Brilliant. But I guess we'll wait and see. What I think they're going to do is they're going to follow other major sports leagues, and the rugby union now is saying they're not going to come back. It sounds like on the 14th when they were scheduled. The other thing I think they're waiting maybe is to see what the Nippon professional baseball and the J League soccer are like have come together to, and they're like going to basically make any plans together, which is actually kind of crazy if you know anything about the Japanese sports league. Like those two organizations, I don't know, they've been like in a cold war basically since the J League was founded in like the early 90s. So I think that's right, the early 90s. I'm not exactly a J League soccer expert, but from what I understand, the two organizations, like they do not like each other. So the fact that this virus has brought them together is kind of a big deal. But they're not going to make their announcement. They're going to make their announcement next Sunday, I think. The 15th is what I'm hearing. So you'd think New Japan would have to decide something before that.
They can't go and start cancelling shows the day before they happen. Because at that point, you'll have people already there.
Right.
And they'll make the call before anyone travels. Because the first show's back. Where are the first shows back? They're not.
They're not Tokyo. Yeah, they're pretty far out. I don't remember the exact place. I mean, I know they end in Niigata for the New Japan Cup. It's supposed to end 2 nights in Niigata, and then I think there's a couple other shows before that are also like further out. They're definitely not Tokyo area. I could see them canceling those shows and trying to scramble and find something in Tokyo, but whether or not they can even do that, who knows?
It would depend, I guess, if other people have cancelled at Korakuen, I guess. But then, because they aren't going to run, there are other places in Tokyo, but New Japan aren't going to do empty arena shows that should keep a first ring or
exactly.
It's going to have to be something that looks good for their TV, which is why they'd run. The reason they'll run, I think we both agree that they'll do empty arena. I think we both agree they'll do empty arena. It's for TV. It's why Stardom. It's why the Cinderella tournament will happen on the 28th. I think it is because they need that. That's a samurai show, and they need stuff for their own TV. I think
New Japan needs stuff. I mean, they're about to move to primetime on TVSI, BSSIE. So I think they are going to probably.
You've also got New Japan World, and while I think people understand them not running anything there is a point where they have to put new content on there for people. Otherwise, people will unsubscribe.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope they're able to come back. I hope things get better in Japan. We're going to talk about these empty arena shows. They had very different vibes in some cases. One of them, I think, had a more normal quote unquote vibe than I expected. But I would like to see the rest of these. I would like to see them be able to run shows in front of fans again. I mean, at the very least, America should have to join in our punishment. We should have empty arena dynamites, empty arena raws. It's not fair that America gets to just fucking keep running their shows in the middle of an outbreak.
I did actually think it was quite interesting that most of these shows, I thought from watching them, I was down in London for a job interview on Friday, and I watched a bunch of shows on the train on the way back. And then when I got back before I went to bed, I made the foolish mistake of putting the TV on. And Friday night SmackDown, which is really Saturday early morning SmackDown, was on, and somehow that had less crowd heat than these empty arena shows. I thought it was quite impressive.
I mean, like, it's true. How would you? I mean, look, Dynamite would be the big loss, but there is an argument that you can't even really tell the difference in WWE.
I mean, before we get into the actual shows, I'm really interested. Which company do you think had the best vibe? Because
I thought Stardom for sure. Because Stardom to me felt like some of those matches were going on, and I forgot there was no crowd, especially the tag matches. But
I prefer Tokyo Joshi to them all because one of the Twitter comments they read on the first show last week described that as being like it was like an old NWA style show, and that was the feel of it. It almost felt like they're doing like this weird, like they transplanted themselves into some weird American TV studio in the 80s and just did that, but in their own way. And I really like that vibe of it, and it was just a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. The shows were fun. It's just that to me was much more different from the normal Tokyo Joshi, whereas the Stardom show, I guess because it was in Korakuen, but I missed the crowd way less than I thought I would. So I guess it's a good transition into Stardom. But
they actually told a lie. Their attendance wasn't 0. Their attendance was actually 3.
It was really not. Yeah, it wasn't no people gate. It was like a few people gate.
Yeah, it said you had Will Ospreay there, of course. Mr. Chris Brooks had decided to come along and watch his friends, and then for half the show, you had some random chap in a mask sitting on the orange seats watching and having a bit of fun.
Oh, wait, so that's who was in the crowd? Was Will Ospreay and Chris Brooks?
Yeah, I know. And also during the comment, and when Liger wasn't on commentary, he just chilled out in the orange seats.
That's kind of cool. They got to be there for a fun show. So
it's now official that Mayu Utani versus Saki Kashima in a lumberjack match drew a whole 3 more people than Tetsuya Naito versus Hiromu Takahashi.
Oh wow, okay. All right, so let's get into Stardom No People Gate, March 8th, from Corkin Hall. So that took place basically today as we're recording this on Sunday. Of course, like you said, 3 fans, let's say. So this was the first show in Stardom history to stream live on YouTube for anybody to watch. I should have checked this first. Is it still up on YouTube, or do you have to have Stardom World to see the replay?
I believe it was still up. I believe it is still up because I sort of was distracted during the tag title match and didn't quite watch it all. So I was going to rewatch it before this, but didn't have time. When I checked it about an hour ago, it was still up. So I'm guessing they'll probably pull it down when it goes on Stardom World, but I think they're not going to do it until.
So you may have time. So the answer is you may have time still, if you want to watch Stardom on YouTube. But yeah, so this show was basically, I think there's a lot of confusion about this. From what I understand, and I think this was in the Observer newsletter, I heard it from somebody else, they did not stream this because it's No People Gate. It's like the March 8th Corkin was always supposed to be the start of a new live streaming on YouTube project by Bushiroad. Basically, this is their next phase. One of the things they're doing to try to grow the company is they're doing live streaming on YouTube. And it just so happened that it happened to be the fucking No People Gate show because we have a coronavirus outbreak. But they were always going to stream this show, whether there was a virus or not. And it sounds like this is going to be a regular thing going forward. I don't know if it's going to be once a month or, every other month or something, but it does sound like they're going to keep doing this. So that is great news. And, I think a lot of people have waited a long time to be able to watch Stardom live instead of, getting spoiled and having to wait for it to show up on Stardom World. So that is definitely a good thing.
On the other hand, this show I think does realize how important those subtitled promos and those subtitle things are.
That's true.
Yeah, watching spoiled is annoying. Ideally, you try and get a turnaround to where you'd get something like the English update that would let you know what's going on as soon as it's happening. But ideally, and as there has been for Stardom until very recently, much quicker turnaround on the big main event matches on Stardom World. So, along with doing things live, they've always talked about wanting to do live streams. I will say, if you study a tiny bit of Japanese and then just kind of guess from there, it's not that hard to figure out what's going on. I mean, they're usually pointing and stuff. It's not. Oh, yeah. It's not like some of these promotions where you need the language to understand. It's very simple.
Yeah.
But it does help sometimes.
Yeah. So the show opened with the 16-woman special time difference battle royal. So this is basically the Stardom Rambo. Is the best way you could describe it for a newcomer. Your first. I'm just going to go through the participants, and I'll note. You can jump in whenever you want to talk about it. It was Death Yama and Saya Ida starting out. The third wrestler was Azumi, who is one of the best wrestlers in the world, in my opinion. And Azumi pinned Ida with a flash pin. Number 4 was Moe Nakanishi in a mask. And this was so funny because I was watching this live, with the Voice of Wrestling Slack, just going through that. And it became very obvious that nobody else in that Slack has watched early 2000s All Japan Women's, which I understand is not exactly a peak era of the company or anything, but
I'll be honest, it's not something I've seen a whole lot of either. So
yeah, so no, that's fine.
The name, but
I was marking out for her, and I was for people who don't know who she is, she was one of the last big stars of All Japan Women's before the company closed, and she was originally Nanai Takahashi's tag partner. That Nanai is obviously still around and running Seedling, so they have a lot of big tag matches with. With a team who one of the members was, on the show later that night, actually, or later in this match. I mean, which we'll get to in a second. But they had some amazing matches back in the day. Both as sometimes they would even be not even as part. I'm going through her history now to see if I can find anything that stands out in my mind. But mostly, what stands out is just they were there was this cage match. I want to say it was a cage tag match, and maybe that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think it's this. Maybe it's a 6-woman match I just found November 23rd, where it's like Kaoru Ito, Moi Nakanishi, and Anai Takahashi against LCO, Etsuka Mita, and Mima Shimoda, and Kumiko Maekawa. I remember that match very well, and that match is fucking awesome. So
I think that match might be online somewhere as well.
Yeah, so definitely check that one out if you haven't seen it. Steel Cage Death Match, November 23rd, 2000. That one I remember watching very early on in my like Japanese wrestling fandom. So I hope that's the match I'm thinking of. It's been a very long time, but yeah, I mean, she was one of the wrestlers I saw that's like around when I was getting into Japanese wrestling, like in 2002, 2003. So, it wasn't that old, it was from a couple years before that. But yeah, so I marked out for her. Yeah. Nobody else in Slack cared. Nobody else knows she is. Because she retired in 2005. So
she did a match about 5 years ago, I think.
So yeah, I'm going to go through it really quickly. So 2005, she retired on January 7th at her retirement show. She lost to Nai Takahashi. And she also did another, it was Kendo Kashin and Momo Nakanishi versus Ebisan and Ebiko. So that was kind of funny. And then 2011, she did an exhibition in Ice Ribbon against Emi Sakura. And 2014, she came back for a tag match for Nai Takahashi against Natsuki Taiyo and Miho Wakizawa, which was only a 5-minute time limit draw, though. So seeing her come out here and do an entire 24-minute battle royal was, pretty crazy.
So
she looked great.
Oh yeah, she was fantastic. Like when she came in, I thought it was going to be one of those things that you sometimes get in these things, where an old retired person comes back, does some comedy spots, and gets eliminated quickly, and then she goes and she does a Hurricane Rana to beat Yonagama, and it's like, wow, it's like fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, she looked awesome, honestly.
I do wonder if, when you get things like this, someone who's quite clearly still got it, whether does it become a long-term thing? Is she a semi-regular person who'll come back every so often, or is it just a done?
That's what I was hoping. I would love to see her keep coming back and be like Stardom's resident, like veteran guest star. Because that was she was awesome here, and I thought she really looked great. And I mentioned that 6-woman tag cage match, and Mima Shimoda would be in later, and I thought that was really funny when they did spots together and stuff. 5 was Ruaka, 6 was Rina, 7 was Tina.
Again, that was Ruaka's return from yet another injury.
Yes,
which I do worry about her sometimes, but we'll see what happens.
So 8 was Captain Stardom, who was also Saida. She had gotten eliminated at that point, and they all went like crazy trying to unmask her in the ropes. I guess because they knew who it was, who had to prove that she was coming back in. And it's like, wow, they really hate masked wrestlers in this match, because Momore had come in with a mask as well, and they had immediately tried to unmask, and they immediately unmasked her. So that was funny.
When Starlight Kid came in, I was wondering if they did the same thing again. And that's just how she moved the mask.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I hope they don't go for Starlight, because Starlight Kid was 9, and I was like, I hope they don't go for her mask too. 10 was Layla Hurst, who nobody in the Slack chat knew that she was in Tokyo Cyber Squad, which I thought was funny. But
I didn't know she was still in Japan, to be honest. I thought that she left a few weeks ago.
Yeah, well, she stayed, I guess. 11 was Konami. 12 was Tam Nakano. This was where Momoi did her spanking spot. So like there was a big head scissors chain across the entire ring, and Momoi like smacked everyone in the ass, including the referee. Oh, that was funny. 13 was Natsu Sumari, and she like sprayed them all with disinfectant, right? And then drooled water on all of them. And I'm pretty sure Liger on commentary was like questioning the wisdom of that during a coronavirus outbreak, and the other commentator I think said something like, "It's okay because it's no people gate." So, so that was funny. This is what really went crazy with the flash pin eliminations. 14 was Mima Shimoda. Liger really got into yelling for the Bronco Buster from Natsu. I thought that was funny.
You skipped over the most important thing in this match, which was the debut of Saya Kamitani's new Queen's Quest mask.
Oh, that's true. Wait, did I skip Saya?
She was before Mima, I believe.
Oh, did I fuck it? Yeah. No, I think she's...
on my
you're right. You're right. I missed one. Okay. Yeah, Saya Kamatani's tall Saya got her, her Queen's Quest match. I thought she'd get like new gear, to match them better, but I guess not.
I wonder if that's going to be something that happens in a month or so, because it took Saki Kashima to get 2 months basically to get her new gear.
And it took Utami a while too when she joined Queen's Quest. Now I think about it.
So who knows? I mean, this is the new Queen's Quest, so maybe not.
And the next one, the final wrestler that entered was a super strong Starlight Machine, Saya Ida, in her third gimmick. So doing Mick Foley in the 1998 Rumble, which was really funny. Super strong Starlight Machine. The people, Liger loved this, which I can't really blame him. But yeah, and this was the match. Yeah, Liger looked like he was having a great time the entire night. This to me is when the match got like really good at this point. Like it was mostly comedy, but at this point, they all went like crazy at this point. Like we really got like some really great action with Konami and Tam. Tom ended up, she broke up. She basically ends up eliminating Konami, and then everybody ran on Mima Shimoda's back, which looked awful for her. Like this woman's not a youngster here.
Good Night Express.
Yes. Basically, that's true. Momoe, he saved Mima from the standing shooting star press from Saya, and they had a big hug, which again is funny because they used to try to kill each other. But yeah, at the end of this, we got the devil windmill suplex from the super strong Starlight Machine, and she basically won the match at that point. But
Momoe, she eliminated Starlight Kid. I can't remember. This is probably much earlier in the match. Thinking about it, but she actually did a really good moonsault.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
which is actually, again, I when it comes to matches like this, I tend to look at certain people who are interesting and then ignore everything else for some reason. And I thought that that really surprised me. I thought it was really, really good, and I thought she again was really good. This was a really fun match.
Yeah, I also like the Azumi like double cross Momoe at the end, but she told her to go to the top and then like pushed her off. It's like, do not trust that little Hellcat. I don't know what else to call her. I mean, she's like friggin'. She always double crosses people. She's don't trust DTA. Don't trust Azumi.
If you want a perfect example of that, you need to check out Kagetsu's retirement show, where she and Mei Suruga have fun, totally embarrassing Kaho Kobayashi.
I'm going to get that over as a catchphrase now. DTA, don't trust Azumi. So like you said, this is really fun. I had a great time with it. So it went a little long, maybe 24-20, but it didn't feel that long, honestly. So good, really good opener.
It's the perfect sort of match to get when you're still half asleep trying to watch it at 7:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Match number 2. So basically, Natsuko Tora was supposed to challenge Arisa Hoshiki for the Wonder Stardom title on this show, but it did not happen because Hoshiki has like a neck injury. So hopefully she gets better soon. Instead, we got Tora facing the winner of this battle royal, which was of course the super strong not Stardom Machine, isn't it?
Starlight Machine.
Yeah, they're wrong on Pure Love. How dare you? Anyway, super strong Starlight Machine. This was a short little match, mostly a squash for Tora, but it was fine while it lasted.
I'm guessing it's just getting Natsuko a win very quickly against someone who a mask thing that doesn't really matter, to set up I guess her challenging for the white belt at some point. Although considering that the Cinderella tournament's coming up and then it's Ota Ward, and then we already think we know what the Ota Ward main event is, who knows when that happens.
What do you think the Ota Ward main event is?
I am Mayu Takumi.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Unless you could easily have Natsuko win the Cinderella tournament, or you could find another way of making the Cinderella tournament work. But we'll see. Because it's a bit sad. As a show, I think this was a fun show. It's probably the weakest Stardom Korakuen since at least the Bushido takeover. Which isn't saying a bad thing about this show, it's saying very good things about the other shows. And I think that not having the Natsuko Tora Risoshiki match made the thing noticeably worse, because it meant all of the matches above this were really good, but you could have done, I think, with another really big singles title match.
Yeah, I agree. So match number 3 was the Tokyo Cyber Squad versus, how do you say, Donna Del Mundo? Donna Del Mundo special tag match. Hana Kimura and Jungle Kiona defeating Julia and Maika in 13-10. Jungle with the Jungle Buster on Maika. This was really good. I mean, I was really looking forward to this one, and it really lived up to my expectations. It was a very stiff match, especially when Hana and Julia started like exchanging big boots, and Kiona, Jungle Kiona's selling is always really good, but like her selling of like the armbar from Maika was just pretty incredible, honestly. And that really took the match to another level for me.
One thing about this, especially with regards to Maika, that was her 23rd match. Yeah. It's like she's like obscenely good for someone with that little experience, especially.
I mean, the one thing about her is that she still works a little light, and when she's not doing the judo throws, and it's very noticeable sometimes. But like you said, for someone who's only 23 matches into her career, she's pretty damn good.
She'll get there at some point.
I think part of the problem is that like she's a very big lady, and like she looks like she could snap these other women in half sometimes, and like maybe she's a little scared to do it really, but I think she needs to lay it in a little more when she's not doing the judo throws.
And again, I think Julia is someone who, when she first went to Stardom, I think people were rather skeptical, especially early on, especially after that match I had with Hazuki, which was not very good. But it's been a massive turnaround, really, since that first Hana Kimura match, because they have really good chemistry with each other. They hit each other very hard, which is always very helpful. And it feels like the sort of rivalry that you could have go on for months and no one would lose anything because of it.
Yeah.
And Maika working with people, especially people of Jungle Kiona's level, and then teaming with Syuri, I think for her, it's only going to be very good.
Yeah.
Because, Syuri, obviously from not an identical background, but another shit background, perhaps that might help in terms of adapting to pro wrestling. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. So this was a really good match. I thought it was like the end, the finishing stretch really elevated for me. I went 3 3/4. Really good match. Really one I enjoyed a lot. Lived up to the expectations I had going in. Match number 4 for the Goddesses of Stardom tag team titles. Bea Priestley and Jamie Hayter defeating Momo Watanabe and Utami Hayashishita in 13:45. Bea used the Queen's Landing on Momo for their first defense of the titles. So this is one, like, it was a little slow to start, but really got great by the end. And I'm not always the biggest fan of Bea. I do like Jamie a lot. Obviously Momo and Utami are 2 of my favorite wrestlers in any promotion. But I thought they really looked good here. It picked up for me when Momo really started beating the crap out of Bea with kicks and this sit down Uranagi that just looked nasty. And at that point in the match, it really went to another level. The finishing stretch again, where Momo had to she kept surviving all this crazy stretch. But then finally she takes the Kamigoe, that lariat knee combo thing that they do. I don't know if they have a name for that yet, but it does look really good. And then finally the ocean cyclone suplex that she calls the Queen's Landing. Again, little slow to start, but really great by the end. I went 3 3/4 in this as well. I think this one actually exceeded my expectations because I wasn't really sure what to expect of it, and I thought both teams really delivered here.
The other 2 matches they've had were not that great. They had a tag on a Shikiba show a couple of weeks ago that was not the best. But compared to that, I admittedly was a bit distracted doing this because I was having my breakfast at the time. But and I meant to go back and rewatch it and then ran out of time because I was watching Tokyo Joshi instead. But the closing stretch especially is what I really saw, and that was, like you said, really good. And that Bea Priestley and Jamie Hayter team could I'm doing my normal thing, but in job interviews, I'm forgetting what I was going to say. And that Bea and Jamie team are really good. And I think Bea Priestley is someone who a lot of people, including me, were negative on as Stardom World Champion But this is the best spot for her, is teaming with someone who complements her very well, but also works slightly differently in an environment where the weaknesses that B still has aren't as obvious. And it really works, I think.
Yeah. Afterwards, Saya Kamitani came out and wanted to challenge for the belts with Utami, and I am all in on as Kelly and Harass from Voice of Wrestling in the Slack called them the Joshi Twin Towers, and I am all in on Utami and Tall Saya winning these belts. I hope that happens.
I think it might go to I think they might be a bit crafty with this and then have Saya lose and then do Momo and Izumi winning. But
maybe
they could do that. I can see them go either way. They're quite clearly pushing Saya to the moon.
Yeah, I mean, as they should. She's got a lot of in-ring charisma already, even if it's not all there yet for as far as like her ring work, but I think it'll get there.
Yeah, she's been wrestling for like 6 months.
Yeah,
like you sometimes see with a lot of these people, like Micah and Saya, you see some people who post really negative things, quite negative things about them. And you just feel like being like, they've been wrestling for like 6 months and have not done that many matches. They're already better than most of the people around.
Yeah.
It's,
people are very silly, that's all. The main event, the Lumberjack match, Maya Iwatani defeating Saki Kashima in 1743 with a moonsault press. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on this because it was I have a lot of thoughts on it and it's very all over the place. I mean, the early part of the match, I did not like at all. Saki, like as far as her as a heel, I'm still not really convinced, and she doesn't come off as a natural heel to me. She doesn't have like that, I don't know, like that bad girl quality that I think you need to do to be an effective Joshi heel. She looks too much like she's playing at it to me. So that hurts her a little bit. And I wish they had, I don't know, I wish they had leaned more into like a mirror universe Mayu thing, like I wish because they have similar looks and similar body types, and they were tag partners. Like if it was me booking, I would have had her do more like steal Mayu's moves and stuff and really lean into that, which they didn't really do. But as far as like the match itself, like once they got past the early portion where I thought it was chaotic in a bad way when everybody was brawling on the floor. Like the cameraman was having a hard time keeping up with it all. And just, the floor brawling, this was the only time where I feel like it missed a crowd. Like the crowd running out of the way would have helped this match a lot. Whereas like, the last two matches, I was shocked how little I missed the crowd. I don't know if the announcers and the girls cheering at ringside really like made up for it. But like, I didn't even notice that there wasn't a crowd a lot of the time, which was impressive. Here in this match, I missed the crowd.
See, I didn't get that with the crowd brawling. I was thinking about this, and admittedly, I don't go out my way to watch Lumberjack matches because 9 times out of 10 they're terrible. But this could be one of the best I've seen. I was about to get into like where it turns for me.
Yeah. Once they get up into the seats, it gets really good. Mayu does that crazy dive off the cork and entryway, like the entryway into the oranges, and then she takes that ridiculous like rolling bump down the cork and staircase, and then she gives her the fucking running 3 to the floor on the crowd of lumberjacks. I mean, look, that is a crazier spot than you're going to see on most men's shows. So like,
I jumped out my seat watching that. That was incredible.
Yeah.
It was.
And like these kind of spots are the kind of things where this is like what was running through my mind when I saw that. I'm like, few things like, and I've said this before on the show, few things piss me off more in wrestling discourse today than people who don't watch Joshi watching like an AEW match with a Joshi in it and deciding fucking Joshi is terrible now. Look at this. The girls aren't doing anything interesting. And it's like, you don't actually watch Joshi. You don't know what the fuck Joshi is based on watching a fucking 8-minute match on Dynamite that happens to have a Joshi wrestler in it. So shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That's my message to the people who do that. Anyway.
I think you'll find that that Sadie Gibbs versus Yuka Sakazaki is the definition of Joshi.
And it's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. It really is dumb. It would be like me seeing a I don't know, like seeing a match with an American woman and Joshi and being like, well, I don't like this one lady, so all of American women's wrestling fucking sucks. I wouldn't do that because I have no idea if American women's wrestling is good or not. I don't fucking watch it. So I wouldn't come on this podcast and tell you it's good or not because I saw, I don't know, some fucking woman in a Joshi match that wasn't good. That's stupid. So, hey, if you're out there doing that, shut the fuck up. Anyway. Back to this actual match. It really picked up. Like they were once you're back in the ring, like they were just like killing each other. The only thing that really kind of sucked in the stretch run was like they blew a ref bump spot and what's her name? Natsu kind of didn't do the chair shot correctly. But I mean, those are minor complaints, I think, compared to like how great everything towards the end of this match was.
I mean, I didn't notice that, so I didn't notice that. So perhaps that's actually I'm not paying attention. Perhaps it shows though that it got past lots of people, which is enough.
There's a dragon suplex, but Tora pulled the ref out, and then Mayu finally won at the end. I don't know. This was tough to rate for me. If the early portion of the match wasn't like kind of and if the everything towards the end of the match. If they didn't have those little two minor botches towards the end of the match, I could have gone way higher, maybe even like 4.5. But I ultimately decided to go 4 stars flat. So a really great match. Definitely recommend watching it along with the 2 previous tag matches. But that's what I ended up rating it. I had a hard time with this one, but really awesome, really fun brawl.
I mean, I'm not as high on it as any other Stardom match this year. I don't do star ratings, so I shan't throw a number out. But for me, the chaos at the start, I think, helped. I don't know why, but for me, I think it just helped show, it helped add just how much dislike and hatred there was in this, which is a big part of the thing building up to it. And it was chaotic, but you still got the idea of what was going on. And I think that's the more important thing.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it did get a lot better when they were on the stairs and it was slightly more focused. One thing I liked about the finish was that in lots of matches like this, you'll do the ref pulls out and it'll go on for 5 minutes more and they'll trade big moves. But they didn't do that here. Saki, I don't think, did anything after that dragon suplex, which is, I think, how it should have gone because that's Mayu's big finishing move. That kills everyone. So the ref, the interference to stop the count didn't actually matter. And I really like that. I don't know why. It's just little things like that is what I think is really good. And, if they'd gone on longer, it would have been too long. I think that was the perfect length of time for this match to be. And it was great. And this whole show was really good.
Yeah. So I definitely agree. It was a really good show. I think a great introduction if you're a newer fan, and I hope some of the people who checked it out will watch more Stardom because they've been a really great promotion in the early part of this year, and we'll see. I liked their year a lot last year too, especially the second half. But injecting the Bushiroad funds has, just let them bring in more outsiders and more freelancers, and it's just made everything seem a lot more exciting.
Look at this show. Just they had the production values on this show are significantly higher than Stardom was even this time last year.
Oh yeah.
With the admittedly perhaps to the big extreme, they quite clearly had bought a smoke machine that was far too big. But yeah, like you had the lighting was a lot better. The smoke, you had the smoke machine, which I think added to a lot of the entrances. It made the show feel bigger.
Yeah,
even though there was no one there.
This comes off as like a fucking I don't know what like a major league production now. Yeah. Which not that old Stardom didn't come off as old Stardom came off as like more indie, which can be fine. I mean, I watch a lot of indie promotions. I'm not knocking it, but this came off like a major league promotion. Like this now feels like, the top women's company in probably in the world. I guess I don't know what else would even be close.
Nothing. I mean, I'm trying to think of what the biggest women's company outside of Japan would be, and you're probably talking about maybe Eve, and they run a building that they run like 150 people every month.
Yeah.
So it's what was interesting is also a lot of the production to me reminded me weirdly not of another big company. It reminded me a lot of Marvelous, which is my favorite promotion at the minute. And what was different though is that when Marvelous do these, they have smoke machines everywhere and big massive video displays and stuff, but they have this air of incompetence about it, which is actually really charming. Like they'll do like these big video, big videos type of each show, and they'll have English in it, but it'll always be slightly wrong. And they have like their entrance videos are very dramatic and very overproduced and quite clearly produced by people at a lot of the wrestlers are involved in lots of the graphic design and stuff they do, and you can tell because it's not quite professional, but in a really charming way. This felt like a very professional version of that, in that they put a lot of effort into production values and quite clearly thought about what they wanted to do and put a lot of effort and a lot of passion in. Just it was done by professionals, so it looked better.
Well, there you go. So I definitely looked pretty nice. So that's Stardom, and let's move over now to DDT. We can blow right through the show because honestly, it was a pretty short show, and there really wasn't a lot to it. I only watched the one I'm talking about is the March 1st show. It's the only one I watched of the recent DDT.
I watched the March 1st and the March 3rd, but I've not much to say about the undercards in most of them. I do have a bit about the main event of the other show, which was the Chris Brooks Royce Chambers match, but that's more to talk. We can probably bring that in when we talk about the main event of the first show.
Okay, so this is from the Tokyo Ochanomizu. I'm probably butchering that. Ochanomizu Dojo, which is like if you know anything about Tokyo geography, which I do find that pretty interesting. It's like to the west of Akiba. It doesn't look like it's that far, honestly. I think it's like, let's see, is it like one stop? Yeah, I think it's one stop from Akiba on the Chosobu line. So very close to. They can always go to the Gundam Cafe anytime they want, I guess, from the dojo over in Ochanomizu. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been over there, honestly. I don't think I had any reason to go check out that area, but that's where that apparently is where the DT dojo is. As far as the show, so like if you've never seen one of these dojo shows before, because they have run dojo shows before this coronavirus outbreak, it's a very plain looking building. It's just like this little warehouse looking building with these 4 windows above the ring, and it's a very different vibe from a empty Horican Hall. Like this feels like you're watching almost like you mentioned it before, like an NWA style studio show, especially since they have those they have the commentary table set up right next to the ring, and then the wrestlers go over there after each match and like do a little promo. Which is obviously where DDT English update will come very much in handy if you want to know what they're saying, which he was doing a great job as always, DDT Pro _ENG. But
I got more of that vibe with Tokyo Joshi because what actually happened to the difference was that in DDT it was more of the DDT show was more of a traditional interview where like people asking questions and they did a promo to the camera, while in Tokyo Joshi they went to the commentary table and it was a bit of more of a dialogue, which is more what you get in those shows. That was the main difference. Also, they didn't do entrance music on the Tokyo Joshi show.
They
done DDT.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because you think entrance music would make it feel better and feel more like an actual show, but I actually preferred it without it for some reason.
Yeah, because you just hit the ring and you're right back in the next match. But and you still got to hear the music when they won too. So
yeah.
All right, so let's see. Let's start with the opener here. I'm going to blow through these quick because they're mostly pretty quick matches. Akito beat Hideki Okatani with a crab hold in 504. This was an exhibition match. Okatani is a trainee, and this is, he didn't have any music or gear because it's not his official debut yet. It's pretty much a squash for Akito, as you'd expect.
The next day, they did the same match again, and they did my favorite slightly cheeky finish, where Akito won after repeated lateral press attempts, which is the spot that you get in every match, and it never pins anyone. But so when it does, I get really excited for some reason.
Yeah, I love it when that happens too. That's a good point.
You get it. It's quite a common finish. Mikoto Shindo, a Joshi rookie, does it, and I always get really excited when she does it because you put lots of effort into it, so it working would make sense.
Yeah. Match number 2, a 3-way match. Makoto Oishi defeated Yukio Naya and Keigo Nakamura, another recent trainee, when Makoto pinned Nakamura with the Luminous Press in 723. This was a very basic big guy beats up 2 little guys match, so not a ton to say other than that.
The studio wrestling vibe makes me really want to get a DDT 80s tribute show where it's just a studio show with all squash matches, and Keigo Nakamura is the jobber in all of them.
He's very good. He's very good at this already, so maybe that's his calling. Match 3 was Eruption versus Ganbare Wrestling. Kazusada Higuchi, Yukio Sakaguchi, and Saki Akai defeating Keisuke Ishii, Yumehito Imanari, and Shota. Shota, we should mention, will also be on all the Tokyo Joshi shows as a commentator, which I thought he did a great job, actually.
Yeah.
He sounded very into it. But yeah, sorry. What were
I believe he was the ring announcer on the show today.
Yes, Namba was there.
He was good at that as well.
Sakaguchi submitted Imanari with a ninja choke in 8:55 in this match. A fun little match. I like the Ganbare team a lot. Obviously Ishii is like a criminally underrated wrestler, but then I like Imanari a lot too. I don't know. He's like got that underdog kind of vibe, and I think he's better than you would expect a part-time wrestler who also is like the full-time video guy to be. So he's, I enjoyed this quite a
bit. Eruption have some really creative tag team stuff, which I really like. Especially Higuchi basically just using Saki Akai as a weapon.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot for last week's or 2 weeks ago, whatever week was the Korakuen.
Yeah.
And Saki is great, and this whole unit is great, so very into that as well. Match number 4, this time it was Chris Brooks and Maki Ito, the Neo Ito Respect Army, defeating Antonio Honda and Miyu Yamashita when Brooks submitted Honda with the Octopus Stretch in 10:41. This was a real fun match. First of all, this was the ongoing saga of Maki crying, which we're talking about on Tokyo Joshi too. But she basically got mad and started crying because Brooks was like too busy taunting their opponents to continue the dance. But this turned out to be a ruse, so she could headbutt Honda and they could get the jump on them. But it didn't help her out for long though, because the Mega Ace took over on her. So, and then I did put a note here. I love when Honda. I mean, he's very well known as a comedy guy, obviously, but he's again one of these comedy guys that's like surprisingly good at when he actually wrestles. And he was like pulling out his fancy arm drags and stuff in this match, which I enjoyed a lot.
It does feel like he gets, when he's teaming with Miyu, he does seem to. I don't know if it's a motivation thing or if it's this is a bigger match for me. I've got to, I can't just do just the comedy stuff. It does seem like all this mixed tags I've seen have been really fun. And a lot of it is because he pulls out stuff that he perhaps wouldn't normally do if this was any other random match. Yeah.
We had Maki, the leg biter in this match. And we also had the wet willies, which seem extra gross here in coronavirus season. And then that's true. Miyu hit the Sankaku Gary on Brooks after dodging his double stomp. That was like the spot of the match. That was awesome. And I think it was Shota who yelled it like Sankaku Gary, like he was so excited. But yeah, this was great. I went 3 1/4. Very, very fun little match here. Definitely the highlight so far.
One thing I like about Brooks in all these matches, because he did it at Ultimate Party and he does it in some lots of his UK stuff, is that there's this spot you see where like it's a woman in a match against a man, and the man's like, you're a woman, you're not a problem. And sometimes it comes across as a wee bit sexist and a wee bit bad, but he manages to make it work for some reason. And I think it's because he's perfectly fine being made a fool of. Because the show before, it was him with Saki Akai, and he did the thing he does where it's like, we'll do a test of strength. I'm very tall. You can't reach me. And then Saki Akai grabs him and he sells it as like, oh my God, she actually is quite tall. Which I think is, you sort of got that here as well with Miyu. And later on, Chris, challenged Miyu for the Universal Championship, which will probably sadly never happen. I think that'd be a really fun singles match. But after saying he wanted to eat all of Antonio Honda's guts.
Then we had the main event, Disaster Box against All Out. First, it ended with Konosuke Takashita, Shuma Katsumata, Yuki Ito, and Royce Chambers defeating Harashima, Naomi Yoshimura, Toru Owashi, and Kazuki Hirata when Takashita pinned Hirata with a brainbuster in 29 seconds. We got the old immediate restart. Like I guess Hirata is playing the role of God, why am I suddenly blanking? Stalker Ichikawa in this match. But yeah, so basically the what's his name freaked out.
Royce Chambers?
Not Royce Chambers. No, I'm saying when he got pinned,
happened?
Imabayashi. He
Sorry. Yeah.
He like freaked out and told him to restart the match because when they started hitting the showers. But yeah, like the once they restarted it went 12:02. Chambers pinned here after the Rolls Royce, and like I said in 12:02. This was pretty fun. You know, it was a good mix of it was like a good mix of like serious wrestling and then like some comedy stuff. Like I have a screenshot of Owashi at one point. Basically, here he's saying, "Don't tag in here at don't tag in here at." He's like on the floor, and they tag in here at and he turns around and just looks directly into the camera and like stares into our souls and like utter disgust and just like resignment to their fate while here it says quote unquote running wild. It was just like the longest stare and it worked perfect. So it was a great image of Owashi. I tweeted it out because it was so funny of him just staring into all of our souls about it. But yeah, and he just walks away when Takashita lariats him down. But yeah, this was really fun again, like a 3.25 star main event. I had a good time, enjoyed myself.
What do you think about Chambers?
He didn't really make a deep impression on me in this match. I don't know. He seemed.
I mean, apparently, I saw on Twitter he's 19, which is crazy. He's like ridiculously young. Yeah. The single match the next night, I'm not going to say it was a classic that you definitely go out your way to see, but you know, in this pluralist dearth of interesting things, it might be worth going to watch. You know, a hard spot to put a guy in first match in Japan in front of no fans, but I'm guessing you know he did a crazy Sasuke special off the apron onto the floor onto Brooks. It was and a bunch of other just really crazy stuff. He's got the athletic side of it down. It's just again the other bits that he needs to get, and there's probably nowhere better to get them than DDT.
Yeah. So that was a fun show. Let's move over now to Tokyo Joshi, which I watched 2 of their empty arena shows, and they were both like special tournament type shows, which made it even more exciting. The first one was the Genghis Khan Kirishima presents Haru Beautiful one-day tournament on March 1st. So this was basically the winner was trying to get a coupon for dinner. That's what they were battling. A meal ticket provided by the show sponsor, which is a Mongolian barbecue place that a lot of them like. That's very close to Cork and Hall. So it was impressive they got a sponsor that fast, but that's where everybody's fighting over here. So if you didn't see the bracket was very wacky. Where like, you know, some wrestlers would go right to round 2. Some wrestlers who won round 1 would go right to round 3, the quarterfinals. Some wrestlers had to win in both rounds 1 and 2, to get to the quarterfinals. Very unfair for them. And then, you know, at that point, then it became more normal. But yeah, very, very wacky looking bracket. For the rules. The rules. So the first 3 rounds, the round 1, round 2, and the quarterfinals, you're talking a 2 count fall to win with a 5-minute time limit. And if they go to the time limit, we go to the tiebreaker of Junkin. So it's rock, paper, scissors. We don't know what that is. So yeah, that was pretty funny. We'll get to the rules the other rounds when we get to them. Basically, I have them all written down in order. So, but yeah, that was the rules for the first 3 rounds. So it begins with so if you've never seen these 2 count fall matches, by the way, which I've seen them for years because Dragon Gate used to do them a lot too back you know, like 10 years ago. I feel like they used to be in Dragon Gate a bunch. I don't know if they still are, because I've watched a lot of Dragon Gate lately, but yeah, 2 count falls, it's really fun. I mean, like, if you've never seen it, you know, people trying to kick out these 2 counts, it's quite fun. And, you know, you also have 1 count falls at one point too, and which is, you know, later on with the other tiebreaker, and that's even crazier. So
I wish more knockout tournaments that had time limits did 1 count fall tiebreakers rather than just the lazy eliminate both people thing, because it's a lot more interesting.
And they do that a lot in the DDT Big Japan the tag tournament. They do that as a tiebreaker a lot. So, all right. So began with Maki Ito beating Suzume with a DDT in 301. This is where Maki Ito cried because there was no one to answer her "Who's the cutest in the world" call, and almost cost her, but she did pick up the win in the end.
It's a big storyline. They come back to that later on.
Yeah. Match 2 was Rika Tatsumi beating Palm Harajuku with the Twist of Fate in 2:30. I remember these are all 2 counts, by the way.
One thing I thought was quite interesting, because there's not much to talk about in specific, is these first few rounds, because they're 2 count fall matches, you had signatures winning matches rather than pure finishers, which I think is a good thing.
That definitely makes sense. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Match 3, Hyper Masao beat Mirai Mayumi with a schoolboy in 3:32. So Masao blinds her with a spray can and then brings a dummy in the ring. The poor blinded Mirai starts assaulting the dummy and putting it in holds. And for some reason, Masao takes over as ref during this. I don't know why exactly. And then she, of course, rolls up the blinded Mirai for the win. So, first of all, how the hell Mirai was like putting this dummy in all these holds and couldn't tell it was a dummy is one of life's great mysteries.
What we now need is the natural follow-up match to this, which is Mirai Mayumi versus Dummy.
That's true. Match 4 was Miyu Watanabe beating Haruna Neko with the Canadian backbreaker in 3:49. I did note that Neko is so short that she was able to duck Miyu's like back elbows from the rear waistlock without like barely moving. Like she moved like the tiniest amount to duck it. It was good. And I thought this was the best actual match up to this point, with Miyu just being, the total powerhouse and tossing Neko around. It was very fun. So
you also had some admittedly the first bit of this match. It probably only went 30 seconds. I've noticed that you've got Miyu Watanabe, who's someone who isn't someone who's interested in pro wrestling until she got into pro wrestling, somehow being a pretty damn good at the mat wrestling stuff, which is Tokyo Joshi generally focused on that quite a bit in their training. Just interesting that she's better at that sort of stuff than lots of people in other promotions who've been wrestling for a lot longer. Yeah. And just something, especially,
I think I tweeted it because this was going head to head with AEW Revolution, and I would, obviously I was watching this live. Why would I watch Revolution? And I think I tweeted it out. I don't remember during what match it was during the show, but I was like, there's probably better and more frequent mat wrestling on the show than there is on the entire AEW pay-per-view. Yeah. So
on this show, which has people who, relatively new at wrestling and people who are idols first rather than wrestlers.
Yeah. So I mean, the mat wrestling's pretty good sometimes, and mat wrestling in AEW is pretty terrible. Match number 5, the Nodoka Tenma beating Mizuki with a rolling cradle in 3:31. The whole thing here is Mizuki getting Nodoka stuck between the ring and the wall, because she's a wide lady, I guess is the way to put it. I don't know. She's a big lady, not tall though. I know the nicest way to put it, but she's very sturdy. There you go. And they were definitely telling her she needs to eat less and all sorts of stuff, which I was like, okay, let's not go crazy with the fat shaming here. But anyway, she beat her with a cradle though in 3:31.
Yeah, the cowardly, horrible Mizuki lost. She got her
She's like the biggest heel in this company. I mean, that little freaking chaos agent. But anyway.
In the interview afterwards, they had Tenma basically say that she didn't care about the tournament. She just wanted the meal coupons, which they sort of go together, you'd think.
Yeah. Match number 6 was Natsumi Maki beating Seina Shiori with the backlash in 2:12. Really not to it. This is a very quick match, but very energetic while it lasted, I thought. So,
Tokyo Space Ranger is the best nickname in wrestling.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I think because she's relatively new as well, and I thought for a 2-minute match, this was really fun, and Seina looked promising.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely like what I've seen out of her too. Match 7 was Raku and Yuna Manase going to our first 5-minute time limit draw. It started with Raku. Raku started the match with the interesting maneuver of going to bed. And Yuna did not know what to do in response to this. Like, she kept looking at everybody like, what do I do? She's just fucking sleeping. She might have been like, this bitch is asleep.
I wasn't quite sure what I wanted more. A 5-minute time limit draw with Yuna Manase not doing anything, or Raku winning with that.
Yeah, but it was trying to be a trap, of course, because she just kept trying to roll her up. But we finally got to play Junkin. They tied twice in a row with Rock, but Yuna sticks with Rock and beats Raku's scissors. So, wins the Junkin to move on.
It's interesting considering where Raku is relative to Omakase in this tournament, that this went to a draw when nothing else. The draws, and Raku is someone who they are starting to give a bit of a push to. She's challenging for. Admittedly, she's challenging for the tag titles as the person who'll probably lose the fall in that match. But for people who don't know, on the day the show is meant to happen, Raku is meant to be teaming with Maki Ito to challenge Miyu Watanabe and Rika Tatsumi for the tag belts.
Yeah,
it
would have been great.
After Raku got her first ever win.
Yeah.
In a very fun match.
Match number 8, the final first round match, was Miyu Yamashita defeating Mahiro Kiryu with the low kick. Look, I was looking forward to this a lot because I'm a big fan of Mahiro as far as the rookies go. I think she's already really good, and Miyu is obviously the super ace and all. This was awesome while it lasted, but it just went way too short. So
it is actually built on something. A couple of weeks ago at a fan club show, they had a tag match with the two of these on opposing sides in a 2 out of 3 falls to count fall match, which had Kiryu beating Miyu. So they're building on that. And also it's a tournament, and as you'll find out soon, Miyu Yamashita is terrible in tournaments. So there's always a hope here. Sadly didn't happen.
So match 9 was the start of the second round with Shoko Nakajima beating Maki Ito with a cradle in 329. Shoko was very aggressive early, but this time Maki so she answered herself with a huge accused in the world with a very funny deep voice. She's like, Seikai, whatever the fuck, and then she's like, Ito-chan. It was great. So I don't think it was on this show. I think it was on the following week's show where Shota on commentary was like, I think the other one asked him, why she had the funny deep voice, and Shota was like, she has a very specific image of her fan base, which I guess makes sense. But yeah, so Shoko rolled up Ito for the ring, countering her Ito special cradle. This was also really fun. So, for a 3.5 minute match. Match number 10, Hyper Misao defeated Yuki Kamifuku with a schoolboy in 329. This was all about Yuki's dog Zach. Yuki's dog Zach was in the ring and waved hello. Misao asked us big children at home if we've washed our hands and refrained from hoarding toilet paper. Which is funny because Japan was in the middle of everybody hoarding the fucking toilet paper, even though they said there was no danger of a toilet paper shortage.
It's not just Japan at the minute; it's happening here as well.
Yeah, in Australia. Did you see the video of them fighting in Australia? These two fucking.
There's a video of a supermarket here where you've got the supermarket worker going through everyone's shopping trolley and taking out spare toilet roll because they had a 1 per customer rule.
That's fun.
So you had this big, massive handful of toilet roll that was taken from people.
Nicole, I remember my girlfriend, she went out and bought a big thing of toilet paper, and I'm like, I don't think they're gonna run out of toilet paper. I think we'll be all right. She's like, I'm not taking a chance. I'm like, all right. Yeah. But anyway, so to be clear though, we bought one thing, not 50 of them. I've seen some of these people doing.
You don't have enough toilet paper to last you for the next 100 years.
No, some of these people not gonna have to buy toilet paper for a very long time. But yeah, so Yuki, she got a rope break by reaching out for Zach and then used this horrified looking dog as a canine shield. This Zach was not having a good time, I have to say. She sucks Misao in, and then Misao gets a pot on the face, but then she rolls Yuki up after she holds up the board colliding with the dog, basically. And she's still holding Zach as she goes down. So yeah, this rolled. It was the best match involving K9 I can remember seeing.
No argument from me.
Match number 11, still in the second round, Mina Shirakawa defeated Nodoka Tenma with a Samson clutch in 321. So I missed this a little bit because my stream died in the middle. Do you have any big thoughts here?
Nothing much.
Okay.
Mina Shirakawa is... I'd argue that across these two shows, Mina Shirakawa is quite possibly the best overall wrestler on them. In terms of just... not overall in terms of matches, but in terms of adapting to the empty arena thing, I think.
Yeah.
She was very good at that. It was like all the other matches here, relatively short, really quite fun. In the promo afterwards, you had Mina Shirakawa claiming that beating Hiroko Tenma for the food coupons was actually a public service.
Jesus. Match 12, Hikari Noa defeating Yuna Manase with the figure 4 rotating foot clutch in 254. This was fun. I mean, Yuna did her big bully thing that she does and, was dominating early, but Hikari Noa pulled off the upset win, so this was a good time.
I like that figure 4. You see it quite a bit. It's a Joshi finisher, but you think I'd like to say it's like an AEW who does it now. It's a really cool finish, which Hikari Noa pulls out every so often. I don't know why. I think it's just a really cool cradle, and unique cradles are one of my favorite things.
Match number 13, Yuki Aino defeating Miyu Yamashita with the side suplex in 228. This was a little bit surprising, but I guess like you said, this was the match where I made the note that Miyu and Aino started on the mat with probably better mat wrestling the entire AEW Revolution pay-per-view. But I didn't see the show, so I don't know that for sure. But yeah, I was a little surprised by the result, but it's only a 2 count, so I guess anything could happen.
One thing I like about Miyu's matches is that, and you see it quite a bit here, is that she's more than willing to play up the fact that she's got weaknesses as well as strengths.
Yeah.
And you see it here with her tournament weakness you get. But even little things like here against Aino or she had a match last year against Mirai Mayumi just after she debuted. And they had this mat wrestling exchange that went 7 minutes, I think, which was equal. And it was because, she's a judoka, naturally she should be equal. Then as soon as it went to strikes, Miyu won and won very quickly because she's good at that. And I like the way that her matches are often paced like that. And I liked, even in this, which is a 5-minute fall, 2 count fall match, she tried to go for she didn't use her strikes a whole lot, and she lost because that's what she's best at.
Right. Match number 14, the first quarterfinal match, Rika Tatsumi versus Shoko Nakajima, ended a 5-minute time limit draw. So we went to Jonkin, and Shoko beat Tatsumi with paper. So there you go. This is a real fun match as we hit the time limit with neither being able to get the win with cradles. Not surprised it was really good considering these two were in the ring, but yeah.
Rika actually tried to claim that she'd picked scissors rather than paper, but didn't work.
I think I said Rika won. Shoko won. Shoko won with paper.
Yeah. She fooled you then.
Yeah, she fooled me. Match 15, Miyu Watanabe beat Hyper Misao with the teardrop in 248. A quick but fun little match here. I'm surprised it wasn't more Misao chicanery than there was, honestly.
There was the mask thing, but that was really about it.
Yeah. Match number 16, Natsumi Maki versus Mina Shirakawa also went to the 5-minute time limit draw, and Mina beat Maki with paper. Mina was stunned apparently because she said she first said she didn't want to do it because she never wins at this stupid game, but then she did win. So there you go.
And there's a spot in this match where Natsumi Maki's about to do her fancy armbar cartwheel reversal, where her hands don't go anywhere near the ground, but she makes sure the camera's looking at her first, and points at it before she does it.
Yeah,
it's like perfect sort of the perfect encapsulation of her as a wrestler, really.
Yeah. And then the final quarterfinal match, Yuki Aino beat Hikari Noa with the Venus DDT in 309. So another, short but fun, pretty much as usual for this tournament.
Yeah.
So
not much you can really say about these 5-minute 2 count fall matches other than just short but fun. These two had a really good singles match. I'd like to say in the October Korakuen last year. Sort of the last one of last year, they had a really fun singles match. If people liked this and want to see these two actually have not a proper match, but a longer match than this.
So the semifinals, we get our first rule change. It's now still a 5-minute time limit, but now it's 3 count falls, not 2 count falls. And the tiebreaker is no longer Junkin. It's now a 1 count fall tiebreaker. So the match number 18, the first semifinal, Shoko Nakajima versus Miyu Watanabe, goes to the 5-minute draw or 5-minute time limit. So then the 1 count fall tiebreaker, Shoko beats Miyu in 14 seconds with a crucifix pin. This was Miyu was so Miyu afterwards, she complained and said it was 1, but the ref is like, no, you're supposed to say it's 0 because 1 means you lost. It was 1 and you lost, basically. But yeah, that was funny. But a good little match here.
Yep. Much like the other ones, they were all about. There were a few earlier on that were a bit rougher, but the second and third round into the semifinals were all pretty consistently really fun 5-minute matches, with nothing overly notable about most of them.
Yeah, I mean, I try to take at least 1 note per match, and I've been, There's not a lot you can say about 5-minute matches.
I've been doing that as well, but the next one I have absolutely nothing, which is a bit concerning.
The other semifinal was Yuki Aino beating Mina Shirakawa with the Venus DDT in 3:23, and the announcers made sure to note that she did not need any tiebreakers to get all the way to the final. So that was basically Yuki's big push, I guess. That she never needed to play Jonkin or get a 1 count fall. So, but yeah, this was again a fun little match again. But let's just talk about the final now, which was Shoko Nakajima. Oh, so the finals, now it changed again, and that was a 3 count fall with a 10-minute time limit. And then at that point, it would again go to the 1 count tiebreaker if it went to the time limit. But we didn't need the tiebreaker here because Shoko beat Yuki Aino with the diving senton in 7:33. I thought this was a 3.25 star match, a very fun little match here. Definitely just they got more time than everything else and was probably the best match of the show. But a really, really fun show that really flies by when you're watching it because of all these short matches. So definitely would highly recommend it. I had a great time watching this.
And it's the longest show of the ones we're talking about here. It went 2.75 hours, I think, but it felt the shortest to me watching it. It like you said, it flew by. And again, Yuki Aino getting a bit of a push in this, and I wonder if she is someone who they might go to for title challenges in the future, possibly. But who knows? It's sometimes hard to tell with Tokyo Joshi, especially with these one-night tournaments where they'll go with someone very aggressively who they want to give some time to, but then perhaps it doesn't mean anything long term.
Yeah. So let's go to the other Tokyo Joshi show. Oh, I should note that the show ended with basically so the GM Koda agreed to pay for Yuki Aino's food because she said she busted her ass and all that, and basically everybody else wanted him to pay for their food as well. So it was a big fight at the end, which is how a lot of these shows tend to end, I guess. March 8th, the second Tokyo Joshi Empty Arena show. It was the red, blue, yellow Great Clash in Dojo. So this time we were doing another mini tournament of sorts, but we were doing teams. So we have 3 teams of 7 people each, based on color, and they kind of tried to match them with their normal ring attire colors anyway. But some of them better than others for sure. Team red was Shoko Nakajima, Miyu Watanabe, Miyu Yamashita, Maki Ito, Mizuki, Yuki Aino, and Mina Shirakawa. A few people had to wear like Miyu and Mizuki had to just wear red armbands because the color is pink. So Team blue is Hyper Misao, Yuna Manase, Hikari Noah, Yuki Kamifuku, Mahiro Kiryu, Mirai Mayumi, and Sena Shiori. One thing to note with this is a Japanese cultural thing, but so they think of green as blue a lot, a blue apple is a green apple, like that's an easy example in Japanese. And it's they didn't have a separate word for green until the early, I guess, I don't know, probably somewhere between 700 and 1000 AD. So it's a long time ago, obviously, but for a long time in Japanese history, colors that we definitely think of as green were just considered blue, basically. And you can still kind of see that with different, where we would call someone green, as a rookie, they would call them blue. You know what I mean?
I've learned something today. That's really interesting. Yeah. there's a similar example in another language I had in my head, but I've forgotten it. So
yeah. So anyway, that was just like a lot of these people were wearing green, like Masao and a couple, and someone else too. I don't remember now, but like, green is blue, basically Japanese. I mean, they do have a separate word. They have Ao which is blue, and Midori, which is green. But the word Midori did not exist until much later in the word for blue. And there's a whole thing like the traffic lights, where like a lot of Japanese traffic lights are like the bluest shade of green possible, so it matches the nationwide or the worldwide like green light thing, but like they would still call it a blue light. It's very, very strange, but that's just a weird little cultural thing. Team Yellow was Yuka Sakazaki, Rika Tatsumi, Natsumi Maki, Nodoka Tenma, Raku, Palm Harajuku, and Susume. I know Shoda said he put Nodoka here because he was thinking of her old outfit, which is yellow. So I thought that was
and Rika Tatsumi was wearing her old gear, which is yellow as well.
Yeah, so it made sense. So basically, we had 7 matches here: 3 singles, 1 3-way, and then 3 tags. And you would get two points for a win and 1 point for a tie. Obviously, 0 points for a loss. And whichever team had the most points would get passes to a amusement park, which I don't know how. The amusement park hopefully will be open in the middle of the because a lot of them have been shut down. But
maybe it'll be an empty. Maybe it'll be an just open for them.
Maybe, but yeah, that's what they're fighting for. The winning team gets passes to the amusement park, and at the end, if there's a tie, then there would be a 1 count fall tiebreaker between 2 team representatives. So. All right, so we start out with match 1, which is Maki Ito from Team Red beating Seina Shiori from Team Blue in 5:28 with a DDT. Maki started crying again when she did her "Who's the cutest world in the world" thing, but then like slapped herself out of it and then did her deep male voice answer. But there wasn't a lot to this match, honestly. This is probably one of the weaker matches of these shows, I thought.
One of the funny things in this match was Maki Ito kicking out of everything at 1 and then thinking she'd won after a 2 count. All Dojo matches were 2 counts.
Yeah, and so she complained afterwards, and she was like, I thought all my matches were all my matches so far have been 2 count fall. And Shota was like, no, you were on the DT show with Chris Brooks, so there was a 3 count fall. So you should have known these were going to be 3 count falls. Match number 2, Rika Tatsumi from Team Yellow defeating Mina Shirakawa from Team Red in 7:23 with the missile hip attack. This was a lot of fun. Mina had Team Red at ringside to cheer her on, but Rika had nobody. And Rika, so Rika goes crazy on ringside, and she looks like she's having the time of her goddamn life, like sitting down on this crash dummy that's like on top of Mina while Mina's like wrapped up in the ring apron, like how Finley used to do to people on SmackDown. It was really quite the visual. And she also like tried to stack all the turnbuckle pads on her. She was really like channeling her inner Hyper Masao or something, but it did not work. So the referee's like counted to 20 and stops at 19 because he noticed that Mina got back in the ring behind Rika, and Rika, for some reason, instead of waiting for the referee to count to 20 and to celebrate, starts celebrating anyway. It's like, no, he stopped at 19. You should have thought and realized that Mina's behind you now. But no, she starts celebrating that she won. But she did win anyway, so I guess who cares? So now at this point, Red and Yellow both have 2 points.
Yeah, that was sorry. I'll start again.
Sure.
One thing that was again interesting was the whole match earlier on. You had Rika because Rika had no one at ringside, just being a massive dick to everyone, which I think with ring apron stuff as well, really fun sort of stuff to do. But I think it helped. I think also Team Red being there, you actually got a bit of crowd noise, which I think helped this match in particular, just because of how Rika was working. Getting booed and all sorts.
Yeah. Match number 3, Natsui Maki from Team Yellow defeating Mahiro Kiryu from Team Blue in 6:11. Maki pinned her with a backlash, so now Yellow has 4 points, Red has 2, and Blue still has none. Maki was like vicious in this match, including like biting Mahiro when she was hanging up in the ropes. So she was like really getting at it here. Another one of these like secret heels in the roster, I guess, along with Mizuki. But this is again pretty fun.
They're all secret heels, let's be honest. I think in the interview afterwards, you had Natsumi boasting about how, although they'd never had a match before, Maki had beaten Mahiru in the open weight Baka Queen contest they had.
She was like, Mahiro was last. I was first. I'm like,
yeah,
that means you're the dumbest, and she is the smartest. Like, that's not something to brag about.
But anyway. For her, obviously, is apparently.
For her, it is, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that if no one's ever seen the open weight Baka Queen, it's one of the funniest things of all time. Definitely go back and check out the tweets of the DT English account on that, because like, there's at one point where what sticks out in my mind is like. When they kept announcing the results and they announced Mahiro's first, and Mahiro's like, at this point, I kind of figured because everybody else in this thing was so fucking stupid. Because like Miyu Yamashita was in it and Miyu Watanabe was in it, and they're both famous idiots. So
Miyu Watanabe is unique in months of the year.
Yes, that was great. Match number 4, the 3-way match. Okay, so this is going to get confusing because like there's another point system unrelated to the point system to determine who wins this fucking thing. This is a point system just for this match. So basically the special rules are you have 5 rounds of 2 minutes each. Each wrestler starts with 3 points. The match is over, one of them loses all 3 points, and whoever has the most points remaining at that point wins. Points are lost when you get a 2-count fall, a submission. So it's back to 2-count falls when you submit, or when something special happens, which we'll get into the special things as it goes. There's no penalty. That's the special penalty. There is no penalty in round 1. So Miyu gets double pinned and loses 1 point. And they did the points they had photos, like 3 photos of each of them on the wall behind them, which is funny. So they take down a Miyu photo. She counters by pinning Palm quickly. So before round 1 even ends, they're both down 1 point. The round 2 penalty, the fans got to vote on what the penalty would be, and they voted for speaking in English as the penalty.
I think this is when you had Palm Harajuku just for the next 3 rounds hiding right in the corner of the ring, as she always does, which is why this is a good match for her. I think she came in for like 2 spots, one of which involved her pinning at the end of the match, but we'll get there. It's just funny because that's what it just turns into a singles match with Misao and Miyu, with them not even thinking to realize where on earth the third person is.
Yeah. So the English penalty, they don't tell the wrestlers the penalties, obviously. So Misao loses a point for speaking in English when she was about to put Miyu in a hold. Did you hear what she said? I didn't hear what she said.
And hero, apparently.
Oh, duh. Well, that makes sense. And that bit Misao in the past too. So
yeah,
we'll do it at the end of the match. But yeah, so she's down 2 points.
In the interview at the end, because spoiler, she wins. She talks about how she guessed that the penalty in the first round was speaking English because she said hero and lost a point, and that's happened to her before.
Round 3 penalty was Irish whipping someone on the ropes, which Miyu quickly did on Misao. So kicked her right in the face and looked very confused. Her like confused. Nande. That was really funny. She's like, why? Why did I lose a point? But yeah, she like whips her in and like loses the point.
And right afterwards, she goes for a kick again, and then that goes to the referee almost as if, was that what I was penalised for?
Because yeah, she'd be in trouble if kicks was bad. The end of round 3, she has 1 point, and the other 2 girls both have 2 points. The round 4 penalty was again Irish whipping the ropes, and this time Palm loses a point for that. So she's also down to 1 point. And then Palm rolls at me with the 2 count just when she was in the middle of destroying Misao with a high kick and Death Valley driver. But so she celebrates it first, but this means that Misao wins because Miyu has no points, but Palm has 1 and Misao has 2. So she has the most points left. She wins. That gives Blue their first win. So now the point standings for the teams is Yellow has 4 and Red and Blue both have 2. As you get into the tag matches, which ends up being the highlight of the show, in my opinion, other than that 3-way, the 3-way was fun.
Yeah.
But match 5 was Yuna Manase and Hikari Noah from Blue defeating Nodoka Tenma and Suzumi from Team Yellow in 9:15 when Noah used a Uranage on Suzume. So first of all, Nodoka and Suzume had bananas because yellow, I guess. And then Yuna and Nodoka had the thick girl battle where they were like running into each other with the shoulder blocks and stuff. That was pretty fun. And there's also a really good sequence at the end with Akari Noah and Suzume before Noah finally put her away. So this was definitely the best match of the show up till here, 3 1/4. And it moved yellow and blue into a tie with 4 points each. And red still is at 2.
At the point in the middle, it turned into a banana death match when they tried to force feed Tenma just a load of bananas.
Yeah, that's true. That was fun.
So that's why the bananas were there.
Yeah. The semifinal, this was Blue's last match. They had to win this to stay alive. But unfortunately for them, they did not win. Shoko Nakajima and Miyu Watanabe from Team Red beat Yuki Kamifuku and Mirai Maumi from Team Blue. When a Northern Light suplex from Nakajima Maumi. I don't have a time listed for this for some reason. But so this was pretty fun. And again, another really fun little tag match here.
Before we get into the match, Yuki Kamifuku had dressed up Mirai Megumi, and she obviously decided to give her some fashion advice. So she came to the ring with some cut-off jeans and this T-shirt on the front, which just said "6-pack coming soon," which would be impressive.
But yeah, so I got the super fast giant spring by Miyu on Kamayu, which, Miyu is very strong, but also Kamayu probably weighs like 10 pounds. So not really. That's probably why
I do get a bit paranoid with her doing the giant thing on Kamayu, just in case she's not quite in the middle of the ring, because then that might not end very well.
Oh, yeah, that's true too. Very long lady. Then we had the... Kamayu got revenge by drawing on Miyu's face with her makeup, but then Shoko got revenge by removing Kamayu's makeup, and she got revenge from Miyu. She got little makeup removed from ringside. That was pretty funny. And this left Mirai in a handicap situation because Kamayu wouldn't appear in front of the camera now. But she fought. It's definitely the funniest way to take one person out of a match I've seen in a while. But yes, we ended up with she fought well for a while, but ultimately got pinned by Shoko's Northern Light suplex. Another good little tag match here, 3 1/4. Definitely worth checking out. And that eliminates Blue, and Red moves into a tie. Well, we got a 3-way tie, but because Red and Yellow are the only 2 teams, there's still another match that eliminates Blue. So
I think Mirai's someone who I think is at some point, pretty soon, I think she's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Although, considering the natural comparison within wrestling that you can use for her is you, who got to a point in Tokyo Joshi where she could do much more and she left. I wonder if her future is entirely here rather than going somewhere else.
Yeah.
But we'll see. She's someone who, the rookies that have come through in the last year for Tokyo Joshi have been all really good from a company which hasn't traditionally done that. And I think that that's probably a very good thing for the future. Of them, because it's still the same company. It's just that all round the quality, because there's someone else in the main event who I think has improved considerably in the last year or so, and it takes away a lot of one of the big issues that a lot of people have with Tokyo Joshi, which is that sometimes the matches can be not the best.
Yeah. The main event, Yuka Sakazaki and Raku defeating Mizuki and Yuki Aino in 14-14. Sakazaki pinned Aino with the Magical Girl Splash. That gave the win to Yellow, obviously. They had 6 points, and Red and Blue both had 4. This was a really fun match. First of all, with the Raku doing these, walking over all 3 and then trying to get this going to sleep pin on her own, even on her own partner, which I thought was funny.
But before that, to build up to that, you had the other 3 people in the match all trying to do the Goodnight Express and everyone else in the match because they all want to do the move anyway.
Yes. And then you have the Magical Sugar Rabbits exploding, which was fun with Mizuki and Sakazaki. Yuka does a top rope face buster at Mizuki, which frankly seems a little excessive for a no people show, but okay. And then we have the Yuka and Yuki exchange, which was really fun. And then Yuka finishes her off with the Magical Girl Splash and a really fun main event. Match of the night at 3.5 stars. Definitely, if you're going to skip anything, I mean, you can watch this whole show. It's not that long, but the 3 tag matches, I think, are the clear highlights. So definitely check those out.
I'd also watch the 3-way as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. The 3-way was pretty fun.
I think again, the exchange between Yuka and Mizuki was really, really good. I thought Raku was very good in this, and I think it's something that I think people are starting to notice her more as being someone who, she was always seen as being one of the weaker wrestlers in Tokyo Joshi, and she still probably is, but she's got something that makes her really good in a match like this, where she's against three people who are obviously significantly higher with her on the roster, which means she's got this natural underdog appeal that really works. And she's never going to be someone who is going to be, be Princess Champion anytime soon, but she's someone who she fits in a lot more in these sort of high matches than she would have done a year ago. And it's why I think that they're a lot more confident with giving her spots like this than they were. And I think her and Mizuki had some fun moments in this match as well.
But yeah, so definitely another fun show. I like the other tournament better, but this was still a real good time. So,
there's perhaps recency bias in this. I preferred this tournament. I think it's perhaps because the matches were slightly longer and you had a bit more to get into. It's a bit more meaty. You had a bit more to get into. Whereas the first tournament, by the time it got to, I think the first 3 rounds all being 5-minute fall to count with Janken, I think hurt it. I think perhaps having another change in rules would have made it different. But then at that point, you'd be going a lot longer with the tournament, and it probably wouldn't have been good anyway.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So that will wrap us up, Callum. Why don't you go ahead and give me some plugs?
I have very little to plug. I have a Twitter account. It is Ice Age Coming SA. Follow me if you would like some not very good takes about random bits of pro wrestling. Mostly Joshi, but sometimes not. I'll plug other things. If you are bored and want to watch some wrestling and you're tired that Stardom isn't running for the next 2 weeks or whatever, lots of good things around at the minute. If you go Nico, there's a really good Kagetsu and Chihiro Hashimoto match, which people should watch. One of Kagetsu's retirement matches, and some other stuff that's happened over the last week. And broaden your horizons a bit more. Try, especially when things aren't happening as much. And that's my plugs. I've mostly plugged other people and not myself. That's probably not what you're meant to do.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up from our end too. Before I forget, I need to mention the winner of the Fantasy Draft poll, the final results from last week, the 90s Puro Fantasy Draft. Flay took it in a landslide, so congratulations to Flay and his Evil Pro is what it was called.
Yeah,
he won with 42% of the vote. Paul came in second with 23%. I came in third with 20%, and Gerard came in fourth with 15%. But overwhelming win for Flay. Flay will get something out of this. Either if we do enough fancy drafts this year to do a Champions League at the end, which is what happened 2 years ago, then Flay will be back. He won this one, so he'll be back for the Champions League. If we don't do enough for them to do that, then he'll get to come back on and pick his own episode, which is what we do with the winner of the Champions League when we do that. So Flay, either way, will get something in return for this. I do want to do a 90s Joshi draft, and then I'd have to come up with like 2 more, I guess, during other slow weeks to do the.
It's time for Lucha Draft 2.
I don't know about Lucha Draft 2. We'll say. I did like the lowest number in the history of wrestling. So,
well, even lower than the random FIP show you had to watch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So anyway, let's wrap it up here. You can follow us on Twitter at Wrestle Omakase. Wrestling, of course, would not fit. Folks, next week, I have no idea what the show will be yet. I'm waiting to see if New Japan announces anything with the New Japan Cup. If they do, either whether it's like No People Cup or, hopefully coming back to run shows, we will try to get a New Japan Cup pick'em together at the last second, as was the original plan. I'm hoping they'll announce it relatively early in the week to let me do that. If New Japan's still just going to be sitting out, at the very least, I'll be able to talk about the Big Japan Hurricane that did take place on March 3rd. That's airing in 2 days. So we'll talk about some Big Japan, the strong climb, or whatever the fuck it's called. but yeah, we'll talk about that. Maybe the All Japan March 14th Shinkiba show, and we'll see what else happens this week. But that'll be it, folks. In the meantime, thank you as always for listening, and we will see you next time.